Put your hand up if you've got no idea what you were doing at 11 a.m. yesterday morning. Don't overthink it. Yeah. You see, most people don't lose themselves in a crisis. They lose themselves in a calendar. Not all at once, one meeting, one obligation at a time. Do you respond, all good, when someone asks how you are? Yeah? And for the most part, you are. You're functioning, you're capable, you're doing what needs to be done. But then there are moments. You sit in the car a little longer than you need to. You stare at the calendar and feel tired before the day's even started. And you smile in the photo, but something in you feels absent from the frame. You're not failing, you're not broken, you're split. Because these days we don't live in one world, we live in many. There's the work world where we perform, the home world where we provide, the digital world where we compare, usually to people who seem, hydrated, wealthy, doing weird things like getting up before 6 a.m. to doing Pilates. There's the social world where we curate. There's the private world where we inwardly wonder, is this really it? And then for many people, there's also the future world. The world they secretly long for, but really give themselves permission to name. And you all know exactly what I'm talking about. We are more connected than ever, but many people feel quietly disconnected from themselves. But because nothing is technically wrong, you keep going. I call this Driftlock. Driftlock is where life works on the outside but doesn't feel alive on the inside. It's where your life fragments into multiple worlds without a consciously chosen story to unify them. And Driftlock isn't just a feeling. Just last year, Gallup reported that only 44% of people said they were very satisfied with how things were going in their personal lives. Less than half. That's not just a statistic, that's a signal. A signal to stop choosing a story, stop living a story you didn't choose. Because if you don't choose your own story, it will be chosen for you. Through expectation, through obligation, through decisions you made years ago that no longer match the person you are becoming. For over 25 years, I've led, coached, and sat with people who on paper carried responsibility well. But beneath the surface, many of them were asking the same silent question. How do I build a life that works, but doesn't feel like mine? Sound familiar? And I know that question because I've lived it. It was only 4 years ago that my life, by all accounts, was good. Long marriage, beautiful daughters, a job I loved doing, and I supported the winning Crusaders team. I thought I would have got a bit more of a reaction than that, Tamaki Makara, but underneath all of that momentum, something had quietly gone missing. Not drama, not crisis, just a growing sense that I was functioning and not fully living. Then on New Year's Day, 2023, my world collapsed. It was the day that my wife told me that she was no longer happy in the marriage, that she was no longer in love with me, and she thought that we should separate. And what shocked me most wasn't the pain. It was the realization that I'd been in Driftlock long before that day. Life worked, but it didn't fit. I soon began to see the upsides of being single again. But seriously, this is the part I find deeply hopeful. If Driftlock is a design issue, then the solution can't be self-criticism. It has to be redesign. Once you see your life as something that can be redesigned, a different question appears. Not what's wrong with me, but how is my life actually built? Because every life has a structure, whether you designed it or drifted into it. And inner fulfillment depends on that structure. So, before you think about blowing up your life or making reckless changes, let me give you 3 simple steps that you can take this week to escape Driftlock and start redesigning your life. Step 1, reveal the real gap. Most people say, I just want to feel better. Well, architects don't design better, they design specific. So what exactly is it that you're missing? And no, I'm not thinking about money. Is it energy, time, truth, joy, freedom, or maybe something else? But here's the thing, if you can't name it, you can't build it. Step 2, return to true north. This isn't some fancy slogan. This is the internal direction you can actually trust. Ask yourself, what is it that you value most that you've been living least? For some people, it'll be love. For others, health, meaning, integrity, growth, freedom. But here's what matters. When you violate a value long enough, you don't just experience it as punishment. You experience it as pain. Not that punishment, but guidance. Step 3, build the next bridge. Not the 10-year plan, not the perfect reinvention, the bridge. Because a bridge is one intentional structure that's designed to close distance. So simply choose one decision, one new rhythm, one brave action. Something small enough that you can act on, but honest enough to matter. Because transformation really begins with one gigantic leap. Normally it begins with one truthful step. Let me leave you with this. Your life's not broken. It's a structure waiting to be redesigned. And if you've been drifting, you're not behind, you're not late, you're right on time. Because Driftlock isn't failure, it's a signal. Back to alignment, back to that one story beneath your many worlds. One day, the season will be over. Not dramatically, quietly. And the question won't be, did you manage everything well? It will be, did you live awake or did you cope? See, here's my invitation. Don't go back to normal. Normal is drift. Normal is delay. Normal is someday. This week, build one bridge that honours your true north. And let that be how you remember this moment, not as the day that you started to harness your calendar, but it's the moment that you chose to unify your many worlds back to your one true story.